How's that?
Got me wondering how I got into this mix.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I'm going to do a whiteboard. Yeah, I know it's a very tiny whiteboard, but this is all I could find here, so I decided to use it. And today this whiteboard, which by the way is my first whiteboard I've done, so maybe there'll be future whiteboards. We could dissect Jeffrey Epstein, we could dissect the finders, we could dissect 5G, whatever. Throw some suggestions in the comments and I'll consider it. But I have some notes here, and we are going to try to fit in this tiny little space. Maybe not all the theories, because there's probably a lot I haven't found yet, but about 10 or so of the most popular theories I've seen related to COVID-19. And I'm going to try to keep my political commentary, my opinion, and my research comments to a minimum and just line out all the theories and not waste your time telling you what I think about each one. I think most of you know where I stand on these topics anyways. I might throw in a couple of comments here and there, but let's get to it. Okay, so on the left side here, I'm going to put real, and then on the top right here we're going to put fake. What I have noticed is that most of the theories, or all of the theories, are kind of on a spectrum of this. From people who think this is a completely real event, and of course there's shades to those beliefs, and to those who on the other extreme who think this is totally fake, no deaths, no virus, total hoax in the most literal sense of that word, and then people of varying degrees who think maybe elements of this are fake or exaggerated, and in the middle is this COVID-19. And yeah, so let's talk about some of these ideas. Okay, first of all, let's start off on the real side, right? There are people who believe that this event is real and that it is much, excuse my handwriting, much worse than imagined. So it's real, but it's actually much, much worse. And the governments of the world, including the US government, maybe the Chinese government, others, have been trying to cover that up, right? Then there are people who think this is real, but, well, and I should say the people who think that it's much worse, of course, these are people who do not trust the CDC, the World Health Organization, and depending on your view, maybe the mainstream media, because some people say the mainstream media is, pumping it up. Other people say they're not reporting enough the truth, things like that. And there are people who think things are, much worse, but they think the CDC and the WHO are not giving accurate information. Then you have people who think it's also real, but it's not as bad as claimed. Let me make sure I'm out of the way. So people who think it's real and much worse likely don't trust the CDC or the WHO or the MSM one way or the other, and think that the governments are lying about how bad it is. USA and China. This is going to be fun by the time this is done. So we got this little mesh there, right? Then there are people who say, hey, it's not as bad as we're being told. Yes, it's real, but it's not as bad. And then, on these people who say it's real, well, we'll save that one for just a moment. So then there are people who say that it's real, but it is more than likely a bioweapon, biowarfare of some kind, not a natural virus. Bioweapon. Then there are people within that who think, again, this is the fault of China and Iran and Venezuela, and China say the US may have released a bioweapon. So we got a propaganda war going on. So it's real, but it's a bioweapon, not a natural virus. And then even within that, like I said, some people think it's the US, some people think it's China. Well, then you also could say some people think it was accidental. Others say on purpose. Accidental or on purpose? This is getting crazy. So let's start on the other side. We're kind of coming all the way over here to the bioweapon. They think it's real, but again, they think maybe certain parts of it are fake, what we're being told about this. Then let's go over here again. On this fake side, you have 100% fake. I actually haven't heard anybody saying this, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that thinks that every aspect of this is fake. No deaths, no virus, things of that sort. Then, as I said earlier, some who think it's real, but it's not as bad. These people think that it's exaggerated. Okay, exaggeration. So then one thing about this thing between a connector between those who say it's fake and those who say it's not as bad is the hashtag empty hospitals or film the hospitals. So these people, even if they think it's real and don't think it's as bad, like myself, have pointed to the empty hospitals thing, and other people who think it's totally fake point to the empty hospitals thing. There's some connection, there's some common ground there. Over here, back to the real side, there's people who say that yes, well, they're kind of in the middle. People who say that yes, people are sick, but it's not COVID-19, it's not a virus, it's 5G. 5G EMF exposure is apparently actually what COVID-19 is. Man, it is loud outside. Can you guys hear that car alarm going off? Over here, and this is again on the spectrum between real and fake. People say, yes, some say people are getting sick, but it's not a virus because, let me see where I can fit this in, because the germ theory is incorrect, is a lie. And that something like the tyranny theory. And now if everything, these things I'm saying, guys, by the way, if you've never heard these theories, look them up. That's why I'm putting this all out here so we can all consider. So there's the idea that, look, viruses don't exist, germs, that whole thing is false. And then from there you can say, so that means nobody's sick, or yeah, they're sick, but it's not because of something that we call viruses. And then this also connects to discussions about exosomes, which Andrew Kaufman and others have been talking about lately. Exosomes. So again, thinking that it may be real, some elements of fake, but it's definitely not as bad, and that the theory itself is wrong. The science behind it itself is wrong. So, and then I think I said, yeah, that like it's 100%. This would include that if you think viruses don't exist, and that doesn't fit in there, right? So then over here I'll say also, most of the people who fit this particular theory, which by the way is the worst theory, the shittiest one on here out of all of them, some of them think it's totally fake, some of them say it's real but it's not as bad, but we're going to throw them over here in this corner. QAnon. The QAnoners. The non-QAnon sense that says that either the virus is totally fake, so they can go all the way up there, or that, yeah, the virus is real, but it's not as bad, and that it's actually a cover. These lockdowns, these martial law moves that Donald Trump and the government are making are actually good guy moves being done by the white hats and the alliance to arrest the bad guys while the American people are locked away, and then they're going to round them up and do this unilaterally, regardless of the Constitution or any rule of law, because they're just the good guys and they know what's best for us, and they're the benevolent dictators. And then they're going to hold tribunals, military tribunals, in front of the entire public so everybody can see these people weep and beg forgiveness, and there will be true accountability, and then all the hidden technology will be released, and then all the secrets of the world will be released, and everybody will live happy ever after. So that one goes there in the corner. Okay, I did want to mention people who say that, yes, there is a real thing going on, but again, it might not be as bad. And some people talk about the PCR tests or the RT-PCR tests. we're just going to write PCR because there's not a lot of room, that these tests are bringing false positives. So there's a real virus, it's not as bad because the tests are exaggerating, and that's kind of connected there, right? Then we touched on the whole idea that viruses don't exist. Fake. Viruses are fake. And this goes into a whole bunch of different theories. It's fake, so that means there's nothing going on. It's fake, so the numbers are exaggerated. It's fake, so the tests don't, there's a lot of different theories. I think I've covered most of them. And like I said, these guys, it goes from real and thinking it's much worse, and the CDC and the WHO with MSM are lying, or China and USA are lying. Real, but not as bad, and the CDC and the WHO and the MSM are lying to make it seem worse. Real, but it's a bioweapon that may have been accidentally or on purposefully released by the US or by China. Real, but it's not as bad because the tests are bringing in false positives, and so it's exaggerated. Real, but it's not as bad, and so there are empty hospitals where we're being told that there are real hospitals. Real, people sick, but not because of viruses, but because of 5G and EMFs, and that's a cover-up. Real because QAnon or elements of fake, 100% fake. Viruses don't exist. The germ theory is wrong. The terrain theory is right. And we need to understand the role that exosomes play. And it's just, excreting of toxins from the body. Fake because viruses don't exist. And I'm sure I'm missing something else, guys, but wow. That's what's going on. Over the last couple of months, let me just take a moment to be real. So many people are confused. So many people have reached out to me and plenty of other journalists and activists, even in the mainstream and the independent and alternative media, because people are seeing this and they're trying to make sense of it all and they're looking for answers, and I can empathize. I've been really harsh recently, I've called a few of you dumbass, and I apologize for that. But I've been harsh because I want us to do our best to get real, accurate information out there, because the people that are manipulating the world, for those of you who are on the level with that, they take advantage of all of this distraction and all of this division and all of this fighting. This is to their advantage. And just like the event of 9/11, the 9/11 truth movement didn't know exactly which theory was right, but we knew we were being lied to. We knew that things weren't exactly as we were being told. And I think it's the same thing here, except for a lot more of us are awake now and we're witnessing what's happening. So it's kind of crazy to watch this disinformation campaign, misinformation campaign, and some people are buying into it and some people are purposefully putting out bad information. And what we have to remember is something called Event 201, which happened October 2019, and it simulated a coronavirus pandemic that swept around the world, killing 65 million people, lasting 18 months, leading to censorship of media, leading to potentially arrests, leading to a strategy that these people, the CDC, the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others who participated, discussed the flood strategy of flooding the people with credible information. And I believe we're also witnessing a flood of lots of misinformation and disinformation that's making people shut down and either tune out because it all sounds so crazy, or people are picking their side and thinking they have the truth, when I think none of us probably have the exact truth at the moment, but there's a lot to filter out. So I haven't been discouraging people from doing research. I've just been saying, before you jump onto one of these theories, because a lot of them don't really make sense, but some of them have some vital points. We need to make sure, if we are trying to ask questions and get the public to consider that they're being lied to and that there might be another agenda going on, that we're bringing our best information forward. That's how we're going to change things. Because as I said, Event 201 happened, and maybe to some of you that doesn't mean anything, but for those of you who've been paying attention for a while, you understand that it seems like simulations and exercise always precede massive false flag events or big events like this, and this is no exception. And whether or not we are certain which of these theories is right, and as we argue over all these theories, there is something that is certain that I hope we can all agree on. Tyranny. Tyranny is growing. The U.S. government, the Italian government, the Spanish government, the Indian government, governments all around the world are taking advantage of this crisis and these times to grab more surveillance powers, to grab the power to come into your homes, to detain people, to stop people if their license plates are from a certain place or a certain state. This is crazy things, at least in America. These are not things that we're told we should ever be accustomed to and should be a normal part of American life. But this is what's being normalized. And as for those of you who've been following my reports, I've been covering over the last 2 months now, since the beginning of February, talking about all the things going on with coronavirus, that they are taking advantage of that. And the people in power are going to push this as far as they can. They're going to try to divide us as best they can. And the only thing that's going to stop it is the people pushing back and questioning. I'll let you decide on which way you choose to push back. My point here is that first we have to realize we're being lied to, that there's a deception going on that. I feel more confident than ever that we are being deceived. That doesn't mean I agree with every one of these theories up here. In fact, some of you hold conflicting beliefs because these theories contradict each other. The point is, we need to get accurate information, we need to question what's being presented in front of us, and we need to push back against the propaganda because the propaganda is stronger than ever. And if we don't want to face a tyrannical government, well, I mean, we're already facing tyrannical governments, but if we don't want their technocratic state to be complete, which is what I wrote about, the rollout of 5G is being fast-tracked while all of this is going on. They're taking more surveillance powers, they're taking more physical powers, they're destroying the economy, they're taking more money for their buddies and for their corporate special interests. These are things that we need to wake up to. So while they have us afraid of the virus itself, and wherever you fall in this spectrum, the reality is that we all are going to deal with the tyranny that comes as a result of this, unless we do something about it. So thank you guys for humoring me for my whiteboard. I hope some of that made sense. I know my handwriting is not clean, but I did the best I could. Leave your comments below. Let me know. Maybe I can do some other whiteboards. We'll get a bigger one, and we can talk about some other topics. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for all your support, for the kind comments, for the haters, and for everything in between. I promise I'm working on keeping myself centered and compassionate. I'll stop calling you dumbass, or at least I'll try. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.